96.
Boy, that thing was, I mean, that's the middle of the corner all the way off turn 2. And that's a pretty neat job of saving it because that thing was gone.
And I think one of the reasons why he did save is that's right where he gets back in the throttle. And I think he went to the throttle, it jumped out, and he just stayed in the throttle. Of course, that side force probably helped a little bit.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome your Grand Marshal, entrepreneur, philanthropist, retired NFL linebacker, author and host of CNBC's Adventure Capitalist, Dhani Jones.
Drivers, on behalf of all the members of the United States Armed Services, both past and present, as well as the 18,000 OSCO employees worldwide, start your engines!
Fire in the hole!
After 2 weeks off, it is time for the NASCAR Xfinity Series to hit the track.
Jamie mentioned earlier the issues they had late in practice. Great job getting it fixed up. And Ryan Truex didn't just go sideways. He actually got to wall.
To get your opinion on, got one sliding.
55 goes around. Problem's going to bring out the first caution of the day, Brandon Hightower.
If you flat spotted, don't come to pit road.
Definitely.
Hightower a lap down in 37th when it got away from him over in turn 4.
You know, that's
nice job by Michael and Nat. Look at that.
That's kind of what I was talking about up in that PJ1. It's really slick up there.
One more slow one on the top, on the exit, spin and top. You're clear. Still green right now. Yellow, yellow, yellow. All clear.
And that's just a really heads-up job by Michael and Nat. Working with his spotter, I'm sure the spotter said go high, and watching Nat come into the screen, he had to change directions, go up the hill to the right. That's not easy to do.
It's not an easy move to make when you're going that fast. He's already back on the throttle, and he's committed to that corner. So to switch directions that fast is a good job by
Every once in a while we see him get a little aggressive, and Michael and I always react. So here's the reason we're under caution for the third time. Garrett Smithley in the 0 going sideways off of turn 4.
That's a long slide, and these cars, I've talked about it a few times today, they just seem like they're out of control more than I'm used to watching them slip and slide around, and that one got away from Garrett.
Nice save, a lot of room down there. Here's Kyle Busch on the radio. 90 laps remaining, and we have a spin. That's the 0-1 of Vinnie Miller. Second time he's had a problem this weekend.
But not too hard at all. All right, be ready, guys. Here, definitely got flat spot tires. Get it rolling if you can.
Fastest car on the track last time around.
Spin turn 2. That's the 9 of Tyler Reddick.
Oh, he got it pretty good this time.
Looked like a tire blew out there too as he was sliding.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope on being that loose.
Play up here on the upper right of the screen. And that's just sideways like we've seen so often during the course of this race for many drivers. Maybe the most dramatic has been Reddick. A lot of damage to the back of that car, Eric.
Yeah, I have to say he probably just got into one and was trying to really charge the entry, and there's some really big bumps up there on the very, very top, and may have got over those and just got loose.
So Larry, I'm curious for the drivers that didn't pit since lap 128.
But the first two are going to be a handful.
There goes the 18. He's in the grass. He's sideways. And there goes Busch. Contact with a 98 of Chase Briscoe. And the caution is out once again. That is not what he wanted.
No, that was interesting for sure.
He got down on the inside of Dylan Lupton in the 28, and I think surprised Lupton, didn't give him any room.
It sure is. And, you know, like you said, an aggressive move and just caught the grass and took that car right around.
And there was absolutely nothing Chase Briscoe could do. It just every now and then a car will just drop right in your lap, and there's no matter how talented you are or what you try, there's just unavoidable accidents occasionally.
Absolutely.
Appeared to be a lot more damage for Kyle than Chase here.
And, you know, I've seen Kyle make that move 100 times, and it just didn't happen to work out this time. When I've looked at it as when you're going to make aggressive moves, sometimes they're not going to play out.
Well, I would say this too. You mentioned Dylan Lupton. There were a lot of drivers up in front of Kyle that are not accustomed to being in that position at this stage of the race. That inexperience can hurt as well.
We talked about unavoidable. That was a perfect example of it right there.
We had 12 cautions in this race last season. I didn't think we'd get there today.
Are we going to say 4 wide?
I think it was 4 wide. Ryan Truex down on the bottom. Hemrick making it work up top, and there's contact. That's the 28 of Dylan Lupton.
Oh, and he's going to turn
Ty Majeski.
We're in the wall. Ease it around.
There's the caution.
Hit this time.
Gosh, that was a tough break for Majeski. Just wrong place, wrong time
What
again.
you talked about, Michael.
Yes, and you could see Lupton maybe trying to get up in line and just turned hard into the outside while that was Austin Cindric. Cindric had the spot, and Lupton tried to take it.
Yeah, and that's at that point of the race where you can't let a guy have something like that. You know, 33 laps to go. It's time to make your way to the front, and there's going to be a lot more take than there is give at this point.
I was going to say, this is just part of doing business when there's less than 40 laps to go, right?
Look at that crowd ahead of those guys, though. That's crazy how hard they're racing, and I love it. It's good TV.
And you hate this for Dylan Lupton because he was 8th. He had a chance to have his. There's a caution, and 2 of the players at the front, Allgaier, McMurray, both were inside the top 10.
It was Spotter's opinion that he got hooked. Oh. That's just hard racing. Well, inside of 20 to go, wouldn't you say, Eric?
It is. I'd have to say the 7 probably came up a little bit on the 21, but it's tight in there. 3 wide through the dog.
So fortunate.
Well, you take a chance when you move up the hill to try to take a spot away. You put yourself in a position, you're vulnerable, that another guy can
The race
clip you.
before being involved in this crash that brings out the caution flag for the 11th time today.
There really was no reason for Justin to be trying to go up the hill at that point. I just think maybe he thought he was clear with the angle that he tried to approach the corner. Obviously, you want to be as high as you can getting into the corner to help your entry, but that was just a mistake.
These 2 got together early in the race at Richmond. Remember that? Weren't exactly agreeing over the real estate. Innocent bystander Jamie McMurray in a 42.
What happened to the 7? He thought it was 2 wide. One of those.
Who's the other car? Yellow is out at Indianapolis. James Davison has crashed in turn number 4.
It was just a question of time when that was going to happen. You can't be running that much slower than anybody else.
You know, I really don't understand that because he is so far off of pace that he's got to know that he is in the way, and the car wasn't right, and he came in for a pit stop. He went back out. At that speed, Eddie, that is so far off the pace. You need, if you had more experience, you'd be coming in the pit lane saying, change the car, fix the car. Watch from Takuma Sato.
That's such a pity and such a waste for both of them. All they should have done was called him in, tried to fix the car. If it was loose, do something, even if it takes 2 or 3 laps to go.
Now, you hang that one on the 33 with Davison because it just makes me mad that he stays out in the racetrack like that.
Yeah, but that's more from the pits should be calling him in. He's doing everything he can to keep obviously a loose car on the track, but you could tell where he was getting past. He was getting past between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. In all the years I've raced here, I've maybe had to pass 2 cars in 15 years. But Alan, the level of danger.
Caution, trouble. Ed Jones. Off of turn 2. Toward the top of the screen. Wow.
Oh, that's just loose. It's gone by the middle of the turn. He's not around anybody. When the back end comes around like that, it's called oversteer. So we're not sure if something broke or if the car was just loose going in to create that oversteer. But now on board, let's ride along and listen.
Wow.
I'm starting to wonder, guys, if maybe something didn't break there because it was just a very quick little movement in the car. Either that or a very loose race car, and that's when the back end wants to come around, like I mentioned.
Trouble. Danica Patrick.
On a break. On a break.
And that will be how her driving career in Indianapolis ends.
Very similar to Ed Jones. In the middle of the turn, the back end starts to come around. I thought that she was dealing with a car that was very neutral, too positive on the front. When we watched her earlier in the race, that means it's very difficult to turn into the turn because the back end wants to swap ends. Not sure if that's the case there, but looks very similar, as you mentioned, Eddie, to Ed Jones.
that's just a loose car. The back end just got away from him. And there's nothing you can do once it goes. You cannot catch it in time. Look how she gets. He puts her hands down.
Running in 17th at the time. Another look from Alexander Rossi's on board.
Wow. These cars are so difficult to control when they're on the limit. When you're behind somebody, you get caught up in dirty air and you have a little bit too much steering in. He just had a tank slapper. Whereas the last years, you'd have had 800 to 1,000 pounds more downforce to help you. Look at that. He just barely got sideways and then lost control. This is all happening at 220 miles an hour.
The cars being so safe today. You see that white barrier that we have in front of the concrete wall, the safer barrier that we see on the upside there. Watch the steering wheel right now.
Almost
he corrects
caught it.
I almost got it. I almost got it. It comes back the other way. I've lived that. Then it starts to go into what you call, Eddie, as you mentioned, a tank slapper. Now you're along for the ride.
And you want it to go into
backwards. That safer barrier that's put there, designed by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Steel and foam energy reduction really helps soften the blow to cars hitting the wall.
Caution, trouble, Elio Castroneves into the wall.
Oh dear.
Car. Wow.
Same thing. That's the same thing we've been seeing all day.
Ryan Hunter-Reay directly behind him, and Alexander Rossi made some brilliant moves not to get collected in that accident. Back end's light, it comes around. You cannot control that. Let's ride along now and listen.
Just lost grip.
Oh, so difficult as a driver because you know you're backwards and you're about ready to hit something. You just sit and wait.
Oh, trouble into the wall. Sage Karam. And another caution flag.
But what a brilliant piece of
same thing that happened to everybody else. Lost grip.
Back end started to come around. Got loose. He caught it halfway through the turn.
But when he hit the wall, it just ripped that right rear tire off the car. And after that,
once you hit the wall, everything starts coming off.
Whatever I can do to have a shot at winning this race, it'll happen for me and for him.
Crash Doc Tony Kanaan is in trouble and into the wall, and the yellow flag is out with 12 laps to go. He turned 2, caught another one.
Looks like the car just started to wiggle just a little bit. Coming out of the turn, back end started to move a little bit. Looked like he had a correction, almost caught it, and then it got away from him.
Almost doesn't do it around here. That's the same thing.
But you're hopeful.
You can be hopeful as much as you want. Once it gets sideways, you're gone.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Virginia Johnson, Senior Vice President of Government Relations and External Affairs for the USO, and Robert Irvine, celebrity chef, veteran of the Royal Navy, and founder of the Robert Irvine Foundation.
This Memorial Day, the USO and Coca-Cola are proud to salute America's military service members and their families, especially those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. To give the command, here with me today is Robert Irvine, a tireless supporter and tour veteran of the USO. He recently returned from his 12th USO tour and joins me today to honor the sacrifices our service members and their families make every day for our nation. So please join him in saying the most famous 4 words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
This happens. Yeah, he gets up against the wall right here, and you can just see him. He rides it pretty good ways. I don't know that he made real hard contact, but I got to believe some sheet metal might be against his tires.
Tire went down.
And we're under caution.
We'll bring it back to him here. Nice and smooth.
For the first time today. Lap 37.
Hell of a save right there.
Mike, a lot of damage to that right rear, and I did.
You could tell he knew something was going wrong right there. And great job to Austin Dillon, recognizing that tire was about to go down, slowing the car down, and being ready to turn back to the right as that car slid the back into the wall.
Now, most teams were planning on splitting this stage, 50 laps each on a fuel run and for tires. But
For the pit stop, this run the car has gone to the 3 side. Oh, and he's in the wall. Harvick.
Kevin Harvick has slammed the wall in turn 3. Jamie.
Well, just on the radio on the 4, just said he thinks he blew a right front tire.
Wow.
Second caution of the day.
42 Larson. Now, he had been running a little bit lower than that.
Oh, you see the sparks. See the sparks start flying out behind the cars. He went into turn 3.
Was it a left front or right front? Looks like a left front went down.
I was going to say, the right front looked fine, but that left front's flat.
Yeah, as soon as it goes down, as soon as that tire goes down, the car sits on the splitter, and you lose your ride height, and that's what makes the car go up the racetrack into the wall.
And I looked at that damage to the right front, Jeff. That's not just going to throw a tire on there and fix it. I think they got serious chassis damage. Pretty hard lick.
Alex is saying that when he gets around other cars, though, he just gets tight. Whoa, he gets his teammate loose into the wall.
William Byron into the wall.
Ready.
Coming
Inside.
off turn 2.
You're clear. Got pretty hard right rear damage. You're clear to the bottom.
William Byron.
Well, they said they took a couple of big swings at it. They're going to have to take a couple of really hard swings at it now because
with
it's
a
going
hammer.
to take a hammer to it now.
3 wide into 3, top to bottom, and there they go.
Around right in front of the field.
Jimmy Johnson.
Joey Logano's around.
And everybody missed Johnson.
And I don't think even the 22 got very substantial damage to his car. Inside, a big contact.
Yep.
Very similar to what we saw in the All-Star race. I think it was the 17, the 78. That turns Jimmy Johnson around. Boy, the 20 was just trying to get slowed down, was on the rear bumper of Logano in the 22, and that's what turned him around.
That's amazing.
Let's watch from Denny Hamlin.
So one outside from behind. One outside. Behind the Menard car, if you want it, still outside.
Jimmy making that left sit down into the corner.
They were racing for 5th.
Clear low still. No runs. There you go, outside. Still there. And outside. Keep running low, though. He's going to come down. Keep coming low. Come on, he's coming down. Come on. Go high. Good, man. Hold the brake here. Hold the brake. We're going to be fine. Hold the brake to the right.
Great job to TJ Majors. That was just, when they're normal, they're white. Oh, spin off of turn 4.
Back it down. He's in the grass. Track is clear. Track is clear. He's in the grass.
Greg Galding, 4 laps down.
Just loses it in the middle of turns 3 and 4.
A caution, a benefit for Casey Kane and Joey Logano, who took a wave around on the last caution flag to get back on the lead lap.
Just remind people, last year about this time at Toyota's, trouble turn 4, guys.
Chris Buescher.
Yeah, he got some
right side tires
serious
now.
damage,
Yeah, he got into the wall.
Right there, Newman's had a pretty good night.
Larson! Turn 2, around he goes.
Hang on to her, brother.
I don't think he's going to hit anything. A little bit of damage to that right rear corner of the bumper.
Caution at lap 272.
Oh, look at that left rear.
Yeah,
remember how we talked about earlier, I think it was Matt talked about him getting some kind of wheel hop in the rear tire, getting into the corner. Boy, that was really odd.
That's what happened.
Look, that cockpit is full of smoke, and look at this car control.
Driving, still on the gas.
You always know where the wall is.
Back in the gas.
Never lose sight of that.
He's lost sight of everything. Look how much smoke is in that car. And he keeps it off the wall.
Spins it around. Here I come.
Lock it down there. Lock it down.
All at about 160 miles an hour.
Did you hear that? Stayed in the throttle.
Big fire going into turn 1.
Ryan Blaney goes aflame.
Stop on the 2 here. Stopping on 2. Keep coming here, keep coming on your
Caution.
They told him to run it till it blew up. That's what he did.
Start getting out. Hop out.
I don't mind it blowing up, but it didn't have to burn up.
Well, that caution will be a break for A.J. Allmendinger. Free
There's
pass.
Ryan Blaney out of the car.
Up in a cloud of smoke. Mike, this thing started blowing up about the start-finish line, and then, of course, it went down there a little ways, and that's oil that's just gotten all over everything, caught on fire.
That's a lot of oil.
5 gallon.
As Ken Schrader would say, it was a big hole in one of those expensive parts.
Yeah, one of those real important parts just broke.
Yep. To take home his 47th career win, the Candyman comes. Kyle Busch gets it done at Charlotte. He has now won everywhere.
Yes, you guys are amazing. Awesome job. I can't thank y'all enough. Ever since I was a kid, I dreamt of this, man. Yes. You earned it today, pal. We had Sergeant Tosh on our side there. Thanks for that. Great work, guys.